You're welcome back to the show. Now let's talk about kidnapping. Well, he set out to buy some items by the roadside at a very busy junction, Atinga Junction. It's a very busy intersection at Ahojo in the Ashanti region, capital Kumasi. Now, 3 men lured him out of his car, pulled a gun on him and pushed him into a waiting car, and then they bolted. Well, that's the story of Prakash Chaudhary, a 30-year-old businessman resident in Kumasi. His kidnappers demanded $500,000 or said he'd be killed within 24 hours. Well, thankfully, he has been rescued well before the ultimatum and is currently receiving medical attention.
So the Indian businessman was abducted 7 kilometers from here. That's Ahojo, close to the city center of Kumasi. And just this morning, we found him right here on that stone slab this morning. And this is Akukwa Among, very close to Pakoso, within the Aswase constituency. Now, from what we are learning today, it looks like fresh information coming in, which indicates that he might have been abducted earlier than the 8 p.m. we were told yesterday. And from the accounts of women who have gathered here, they say they saw a green vehicle, a green saloon car parked right here over there close to the primary school. And there were 2 gentlemen, young men, holding mobile phones, standing on that stone slab over there. And there were 2 young men who cannot be identified sitting in the vehicle around 8 p.m. yesterday. Now, this morning, around 9 or 10 thereabouts, we trailed the police who got information that he has been dumped here at Akukwa Among, close to Pakoso. And so we came, and it's true indeed from the accounts, when he was left right about the middle of the night, he went over here to seek refuge in a house there, and he asked them to keep him till his brother and the police will come. And that is where he spent quite some hours before this morning, when the police heard of it, and they came with the relatives to rescue him. We will go to that house and get the residents there to tell us more. So this is where the Indian businessman entered to take refuge when he fled from his captors. It's not clear how he fled, but we'll have to find out from the people who live in this house. As I say, Eti chemi mukakra orefia ha no no dia sam no kan
no to form ha say ni hunu mu nyina ye moja ni ebusa ne say obedide na so oba no mu nsuo ntie pure water me no ya de man na gu form wono mo ti wono pure water ni wie na ebusa ne say ye man na duro no na osen yan obenom ti mi sister radem na ye ka chance onfo esoro no nkwa brosan no so nti okọ osoro no mo no ana ye ye etinyi de command no hono mo na onom nti onom wie ya na ehu say ne bra maba omo be fa no
Satan na boss en owura fi ha
me pa cha me ka me hair time na ye
ba na de achi
anope ya.
Well, so from what we are learning, he came in and went down on his knees right here and asked them to save him, that he has been captured by some people. And so she's telling me that she was sitting right here. They gave him water to drink, and after that they asked him whether he needs medication because he was bleeding through the nose and he had some swollen face and all that. And he agreed, and so they gave him some medication, and then they asked him to go up there. So he went up there and sat up there all throughout. They went in, prepared some beverage and gave it to him to take. Right after that, they waited until the police came in this morning. But let me find out more from her. Mama, Ediasamna or Kachemo, no, or say, or more chin on where then with Timidjane.
Or say, no much training to or Jane or Jim not a man too. No boom to a boom, no Johnny and no be ra, ya say ya, Jane na. Or say, or didn't you a number man, so say, young friend. No for police for men. See, I have who say police for number. Or more than a call by chair.
So she's telling me that according to the man, he was able to fight at a point, fight his captors, 2 gentlemen. He fought them physically, and he was able to liberate himself and run from their area. And so he actually fled from his captors before he entered this place. But then up to now, he's saying that he doesn't know whether those people have fled or where they went, or that he doesn't know about that. But certainly, that's the information that we're getting from occupants of this house where the businessman sought refuge.
Erastus Asare Donko filed that report, but following the rescue, the police has been addressing a news conference, and at that news conference they provide details of what actually happened. Let me just let you know, by the way, that I've got ACP Kwesi Fori here in the studio with me. I also have Adam Bona, who is a security expert as well, and we'll be talking about this trend of kidnapping. But first, here is a police press conference which they organized right after the rescue.
Chudri, a 31-year-old Indian businessman, a victim of kidnapping, was today, Friday, 26 April 2019, at about 10 a.m., rescued from kidnappers at Apokwabong, near Prakuso, a suburb of Kumasi. As we speak, he has since been sent to the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital for medical checkup. The police will later give full details on the kidnapping. That took place at about 5 p.m. yesterday, Thursday, 25th April 2019. Although the kidnappers had earlier demanded a $500,000 ransom through Bitcoin, they wanted the relatives or the work colleagues of the victim to pay that amount to them through Bitcoin, but the money wasn't paid to them. The police had tirelessly worked with other stakeholders, including the third coast, overnight to get the victim rescued. Although the victims managed to escape, as a command, we are assuring the public that through informants and other good persons in society, will get to the heels of these kidnappers. We would also like to use this medium to appeal to the general public that whoever has information on these miscreants to please report to the Regional Police Command or call our hotline and give any credible or vital information that can lead to the arrest of these suspects. We would also like to advise the general public to be conscious of their personal security and their surroundings so that they will not fall prey to such persons. So we invited you here this afternoon to tell you that as a command, overnight we worked tirelessly and we've been able to rescue the victim. And then at the appropriate time, we'll give you the full details of how the kidnapping was done and how we also managed to get him rescued. That we had one of them yesterday by name Akon. He was also declared wanted. When they brought him, he was injured, so the commander instructed that he should be sent to the hospital for treatment. So he's also currently at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital receiving medical treatment. So when he's discharged, he will be brought back to the station for further investigation.
The family says they don't know where he is.
Koduna Hyanyo speaks for the police in the Ashanti region. I've been joined in the studio, like I indicated, by ACP Kwesi Fori, who is the Accra Police Operations Commander. ACP, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I also have here security analyst Adam Bona. Mr. Bona, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Momentarily, we'll be joined by an IT expert to discuss this matter and other kidnappings witnessed in the country in recent times. Remember the 3 girls who have been kidnapped in Takoradi, they have still not been found. And last week, a Lebanese consular general at the Estonian embassy here in Accra was also kidnapped at Spinter. He was actually kidnapped at Laboni and taken to Spinters Road. It took the intervention again of the police to rescue him. What really is happening? ACP will tell us. Perhaps the police has a lot more information. But Erastus joins me from Kumasi. Erastus.
Yeah, Gifty.
Erastus, what is the latest on this story?
Well, the latest is that currently the businessman is receiving treatment. I think they ruffled him a bit. He has a bloodshot eye, some swollen face, and he was also bleeding through the nose as well. And he needs counseling as well because he went through a lot with his kidnappers. And so he's currently receiving that kind of support.
Has he spoken to anybody about the story that the woman told you regarding how he freed himself, fought off these young men, and run?
So he has been telling the occupants of the house where he sought refuge before the police picked him up this morning that at a point in time he was able to take off the tapes that were used to tie his hands behind him, and he struggled with the two gentlemen, fought them. That's according to what he told the occupants of the house, that he was able to fight them and flee from their custody. And when he came in, the occupants say that he was looking very terrified, constantly telling them that he wants them to lock the gate because the people are looking for him. So it looked like they were in pursuit, hot pursuit, and he ran into the to take refuge in that particular story building. So they gave him at the uncompleted part of the story building to hide. And all this time he was sitting there shivering like a leaf, according to them, until the police came in to pick him up.
Interesting, Erastus. So his family showed up at the time. He was able to give them a number to his family, and then they called them, and then they showed up with the police. Exactly.
According to the lady there, when he came in, he requested for water. So they gave him 2 sachets of water. He drank them all, and then he also requested for a painkiller. So they gave him some paracetamol and prepared a beverage for him. Okay. And it was then that he was able to give them contact to his brother. So they called the brother notified the police, and the police came in. So we followed the police to the place, and they picked him from that particular house. Nobody has been arrested yet? No, because by the time they got there, all the gentlemen had already, fled the scene, and that was at dawn. And we got there like 10:30 or so. So they might have been long gone. But eyewitnesses say they saw a green saloon car parked in front of that particular house around 8 p.m. last night. Erastus, thank you very much for the story and for the follow-up. Erastus Asari Donko, a member of the security desk here at JoyNews, bringing us up to speed on what has happened. Like I indicated, I've got my panelists in the studio. Let's have a conversation. I'm sure you're terrified if you listen to the story, especially if you followed the trend. You certainly are terrified. You're wondering, asking yourself, who next? Who will it be next? What is happening? Who is doing this? The police is here. They will tell us. Momentarily, I'll bring back the Spintex Road kidnap story. But let's start the conversation. It's because Free. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. What is happening?
Well, this is a new type of crime that we're witnessing in our criminal history. Kidnapping have not been part of the Ghanaian criminal history. And of late, we've seen this kind of unholy development, this criminal act taking place in some places in the country. One thing I can say is that the police is poised and determined, to fight this type of crime. It is unknown to the Ghanaian, but what is happening, we've marshaled our resources, we've taken a posture, to work in partnership with members of the public. Looking at the Kumasi incident, you can see that strong coordination between the police and members of the public. And that resilience, that toughness, and information flow and exchange of ideas, led to the rescue of Chaudhry. Again, talking about this Sakumono Lashibi issue. Not to interrupt you, but I will have to do that briefly here. When you say the police, it's a police coordinated rescue. From the story we're hearing, the gentleman was able to fight his way out of captivity, and then later on his brother, who was then with the police, came in. The point I want to make is the Chaudhry's host, that woman, and the family were able to take his brother's number.
Okay.
Chaudhry was
so
without
the way
phone.
that they helped.
They helped, call his brother. The police responded, listened to the brother. They coordinated, together.
So essentially, you're saying that individuals have a role to play in dealing with this.
It's very key.
Very well.
Very
one of the things that we need to do is to understand the problem. Then we know what we're dealing with, then we can help ourselves with the solution. So what I believe a lot of people want to find out is whether the police has any information, any sort of intelligence about why we're experiencing this at the moment. Do we know?
Now we're putting our nose together. It started recently. We saw that some foreigners were behind the first two that we recorded, or three.
Nigerians,
including I would not like, to preach hate crime or so.
Not necessarily.
But it's a fact that they were Nigerians, right? And looking at the trend, we are looking at it in more critical terms, trying to do our analysis and be able to protect the Ghanaian and whosoever lives in our dear country. So as I said, to be able to fight it well, we've seen that the police have positioned themselves. That toughness is there. They are prepared, in rescue operations, in doing whatever to get the perpetrators. Now, last week, somebody was jailed 36 years. That speedy investigation, that speedy work done by the police is so commendable. And we've gotten the jail term. Now, the other regarding the
Spintex,
the consular general, the Spintex one, you might have also noticed that today they splash even one of the kidnappers, photograph, calling for public support, calling for people to help arrest him. And that is a good thing. And they've also given assurance to the Ghanaian people that the police are ever prepared and to fight this crime.
Okay.